Hello and welcome back to Evolved Models, where we're continuing today with the build of our Spitfire Mk.XVI. Today we're getting started on the wing section. I've already prepped some parts and the bucket's here ready to go. For anyone following along, here's where we are in the instructions. We've got to build the enclosure for the landing gear and put some other bits on as well. Using the trusty Tamiya Super Thin, I'm just going to lay some glue down on the areas where these pieces are going to sit. This should make the contact areas nice and tacky and give us some room for manoeuvre. Maybe it's just me, but some of these little assemblies seem a little bit odd. I would have thought it would have been easy for Eduard to cast these pieces as a whole piece and just slip them into place, especially when they're hidden inside of the wing. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyhow, they went together alright and are looking pretty good. We've got two of these to do, one for each side, so I'm going to flip over and get on to the next one. When the wing section came out of the box, it was a little bit warped. Once the bar section was installed though, it seemed to have straightened itself out. I had to use some clamps to hold it overnight, but it's all perfectly straight now. As you can probably tell, I'm pretty liberal with the glue. Glue's cheap. I'd rather use plenty of glue and get it stuck down good. Last thing we want is for it to all get put together and then find some loose plastic rattling away on the inside of the wings. As long as you don't spill it everywhere and then put your paw prints into it, it should just evaporate and leave no residue after painting. Alright, we're coming up to a bit of a tricky part here. It's the inside of the wheel housing. As you can see, I've already done one of these and it took me about 30 minutes to get it all lined up right. This is one of those instances where it would have been easy for Eduard to cast these pieces in one whole piece. After much playing around, I managed to get them all to sit down nicely, but it was a lot of work. I'll spare you a 30-minute video of me completing the first one and we'll go on to the second one here, which went a lot smoother. I had a quick fettle with the housings off camera, just making sure they sit down nicely and the top of the wings will sit down good as well. Created a few marks here and there with a little bit of glue and fingerprints, but they should sand out and we should be able to tidy that up once we get to paint. If you remember from the last video, I did an initial glue up with a fuselage, but I was using clamps to hold it in certain places and I tried to get the front stuck down first. I just need to zip round it now with some super thin and get all the areas of which are missed and make sure that the whole fuselage is all nicely bonded together. Like any aircraft build, there are going to be some areas that are going to need filling. We'll do those later on. We just need to make sure at the moment there aren't any gaping gaps anywhere. Just need to leave it to one side now for the glue to set up. We'll be coming back to it later to do a test fit and see how it looks. One of the trickiest parts of building an aircraft is getting the wings to sit together nicely. Eduard are normally pretty good at wings, so I'm not expecting anything major here. Maybe the odd bit of filler needed here and there, but nothing major. Before we go any further, I just want to do a test fit of the wings, make sure there's nothing going on that we need to address before sticking them together. I'm going to start gluing at one end and move my way around the wing section by section. Again, I'm being pretty liberal with the glue here because it's covering quite a big surface area and it will evaporate quickly. I'm going to use a few little mini clamps just to hold the pieces together while they set up. There's always a few sections on the wing that want to spread apart, so getting them clamped down now will hold it tight. Again, we just need to run a bead of glue down this piece here. But before I do, I'm just going to make sure it fits nicely. Last of all, we just need to go down the back section of the wing. We're going to be adding the flaps here later on, so we don't need to be too tidy. Just get the glue in there and let the capillary action do its work. I'm going to leave that overnight to set up. We'll come back to it in the morning, get the clamps off and see what we've got. And here we go the next morning. I've taken the clamps off, I'm just having a quick look round to see if there's any areas that I've missed. It's all looking good, but there may be a few areas we just need to use a nice fine sanding pad and get all the surfaces nice and smooth. Doesn't look like we're going to need much filler in here either. All of the sections look nice and tight and it's all looking good. I'm going to follow the exact same process and do the second wing section here, using the clamps to hold it tight and give it some good time to dry. And there we have the next section of wing all glued up, and by the power of TV we'll come back to it a few hours later, take the clamps off and see what we've got. Again, this one's looking pretty good. Minor touch-up work is going to be needed just round here with a file or some sort of sanding stick. And again, a minimum amount of putty just to tidy it all up. As normal, I'll be using the primer micro filler, so this should get rid of any small gaps as well. I think it's time we put it all together and see how we've done so far. Make sure there's nothing obvious that you need to correct. It's quite a snug fit and it's going to take a bit of manipulation to get it to sit down properly, but it all looks good and I don't have any major lines anywhere or nothing that we can't tackle. There we go for this episode. Next episode we'll have a look at putting the control surfaces on.